right, all right. All right. Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to the Gisela show. It's a dreary day here in Pennsylvania, and I welcome you today. It's one of those days where I welcome, as always, your questions. But today, you can really go to time. You can ask me anything, any health-related question to your pets, to yourself. Uh, if it is a child, I'd be glad to find the answer. And you can do it by chat, you can do it by phone. And Amnon, our producer, that we all really love and who makes this happen, is going to tell you of how to do that.
Okay, so you can log into the chat window on nissancommunications.com/live or watch live and ask questions that way. You can call 919-518-9773. Or if you're far and you can't make a phone call, you can use Skype to Computers 2K Voice. One word, Computers 2K Voice. And that's audio only. There's no video. All right.
All right. Well, now that we know that, let me start by saying there have been lately so much news about nitrates and nitrites. Nitrites, two different ones. In our news, in our American news, I have found there is not a lot of what we really need to know. We really need to know more about what Trump tweeted or what he didn't tweet, or who has some silly other thing or other. You know, this show, I try to put my finger onto things that I find are not right. And I know I have a very large listenership, and it seems like that most of you believe that too. You want to know. You want to know what is happening in the pharmaceutical world, what is happening in the health world. I am a homeopathist. I am a natural health practitioner. I have a very lively practice. And I see people every day with a myriad of illnesses and malaise, and sometimes it's just a malaise. It's not even an illness yet. That's the ones I like the best, really, because they come to me before they go to the doctor. If I cannot help, that maybe there has to be surgery, or maybe there has to be some other kind of intervention or some testing done, then I'd be glad to send them to the medical field. But normally, most every time, people get better right away if I find the right remedy right away. Now, that depends often on how honest the client was to me. If I ask, have you been going to the bathroom? They say, oh yeah, I have been. Well, how many times do you go to the bathroom? Well, 2 or 3 times. Well, but they don't tell me is that it's just always just a tiny bit. It's never really a total amount of bowel movement or a total amount of urine that comes out. And if that is the case, then there may be something wrong. So honesty when you go to a homeopath or to a natural health practitioner is paramount. I mean, you have to be very frank and honest to the questions, okay? Like I had I have a client who has been a client for many years, and she always has something or other. And she came and she had a pain, and she when she called me, she said, well, I said, well, how long have you had the pain? Well, I've had it for about a week or two. Well, but I went to the chiropractor, I went to the doctor, I went here, I went there. And I said, so what prevented you? Did you lose my telephone number? What prevented you to call me? No, I just didn't think that you could help me with this particular thing. And you know what, guys? I did help her. The next day, she was immediately better. And when she called me and told me that, I laughed and I said, you know what? From now on, when I hear you have gone to all the other ones, you obviously have too much time and too much money. So why don't I charge you double every time that you come to me? Because it seems like that's what you want to do. Well, it naturally was a joke. And I knew of who I could say that to, because somebody else might have not taken that so well. But we both laughed about it and everything was fine. But I think I made my point here. My point is, you always go the least way of resistance, okay? With your pets, with yourself, all right? And today, as we have had for the last couple of times, we have talked about cancer. And this will be the last one of the cancer ones that I will be having. I did some research, and you know, it's such a huge field that you cannot just have one 30-minute or 40-minute show on this. There has to be a lot more. And I found a new research that was very, very informative to me. The Creighton University School of Medicine in Nebraska, which has revealed that supplementing with vitamin D and calcium can reduce your risk of cancer by an astonishing 77%. Now, I'm going to repeat that. Vitamin D paired with calcium can reduce your risk of cancer by 77%. Now that's astonishing. That's really astonishing, because most of the cancer cures, most of the cancer prevention has maybe a result of maybe 10-20%. And this study included breast cancer, colon cancer, skin cancer, and other forms of cancer. And I'll talk about pancreatic cancer in a little bit afterwards, because there's also a study out for that. This research provided strong evidence that vitamin D is the single most effective medicine against cancer, far outpacing the benefits of any other cancer drug known to modern man. Now that is really amazing, isn't it? I have known about it. I have said many times that everybody needs to take vitamin D. Every one of my clients who comes and visits me is instructed. Yes?
Gisela, I just got a phone
Yes.
call from a viewer who's saying that there's a lot of noise, like you have a fan over there?
No.
No.
No, it seems like.
Is
that better? Let me see if I lift up my computer.
Yeah. There is
that better?
Put it down.
Hang on. Yeah, hang on for a second. Yeah.
Is Is the microphone somewhere where there's a fan from the computer blowing on it? There you go.
Yeah, let me see if I can fix it here. Is this better?
No, it's still there, but it got quiet there for a minute when you did something. Yep.
What about this?
Yep.
That works?
There's nothing there that's making noise like a fan that you hear?
No, there was the computer
Yeah.
sometimes runs because it's a laptop. It runs a little
Okay.
warm and then
That's
the
what
fan
it is.
comes on.
Okay, never mind. That's what it is. Yeah, the fan from the computer.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I'm
it's
sorry,
back. It's back.
listeners. It's back?
Yep. Yeah, it's really. I mean, I can hear it when I put the volume up. It's really.
What about this? Better?
Yeah. But now it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but now I can hear myself coming back. You put it in front of a speaker or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
that's
put
not
it over
good.
on this side. Let me put it on this side. You know what?
Okay,
I'm going to
well,
hold
I
it.
tell
Here
you
we
what.
go.
No, it's fine.
Now better?
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead. Go
Now,
ahead.
I'm so sorry, listeners.
That's all right. I did not hear it
Sometimes-
when we started. So keep going. It's fine. Keep going.
Yeah. All right. So we were at vitamin D, right? Vitamin D, I always tell my clients to take vitamin D, regardless what age, regardless what they do anything else. If you have to take vitamin D, especially if you live in the northern hemisphere. If you live in Florida and California, you may not need it. You may not be as deficient, but then you need to take calcium anyway. But if you live in the northern hemisphere, one of my clients said to me, she said, yes, and I read that if you stared naked out in your garden for half an hour or so, and you wouldn't get enough vitamin D for that even one of these little gelatin capsules has. And I said, yeah, but you might get some thank you notes from your neighbors, you know, because you're giving them a free show. No, I mean, it is a vital thing to have vitamin D in your diet. So vitamin D and calcium. Now, vitamin D also, you need to take it with food. It's an oil supplemental, and it only will dissolve with an oil or with some, have a piece of bread with some butter. That's fine. Now, this study that they based this conclusion on involved 1,179 healthy women from rural Nebraska. One group of the women was given calcium, and they got around 1,500 milligrams of calcium daily, and vitamin D, about 1,100 IU daily, which is 1,100 is a lower dose, while it's not really a very high dose. While the other group was given a placebo. Over 4 years, the group receiving the calcium and vitamin D supplements showed a 60% decrease in cancers. Considering just the last 3 years of the study reveals an impressive 77% reduction in cancer due to the supplementation, which is really astonishing. Note that these astonishing effects were achieved on what many nutritionists consider a low dose of vitamin D. As I said, 1,100 IUs is a very low dose of vitamin D. Exposure to sunlight which creates an even more vitamin D in the body, was not tested or considered even. And the quality of the calcium supplements was likely not as high as it could have been. It's probably calcium carbonate and not high-grade calcium malate or aspartate or similar forms. Calcium malate is really one that gets absorbed by the body the best. What does that all mean? Right? It means that you can take a high quality calcium supplement and get lots of natural sunlight exposure, or take premium vitamin D supplements such as those made from fish oil. You could easily have a greater reduction than 77% reduction recorded in this study. I mean, is that amazing or what? That should have been in the press. Headlines, headlines, headlines. But did any of you read this? Did any of you know about this? Amnon, did you ever hear about this?
Nope.
I didn't either until I researched it. And here's some of the reason why. The American Cancer Society opposes vitamin D. Yeah, they do. Even though this was a valid study done by a university. So this was not a fly-by-night thing. This was not something in an obscure little corner that they tried out. This was a real scientific study done. This research on vitamin D is such good news that the American Cancer Society, of course, had to say something against it. An ACS spokesperson, Margie McCullough, strategic director of nutritional epidemiology for the American Cancer Society, flatly stated that nobody should take supplements to prevent cancer. Oh, yeah? I mean, really? It seems surprising to you that the American Cancer Society, which claims to be against cancer, should dissuade people from taking supplements that slash their cancer risk by 77%. Then you don't know much about ACS. None of us know much about the American Cancer Society. And I, for one, never once will support that society. Never once. None of them. Not the breast cancer and not the American Cancer Society. And here is the reason why. That they are a for-profit, non-profit organization. Let that sink in for a second. For-profit, non-profit. That means they make money. They make money with every one of your contributions. They are the largest, the richest society. They pay the highest amount to their officers and pay the lowest amount out to research. Because why would they want to cut the throat of the golden goose that they have? The golden goose, that means they have all duped us into believing that only pharmaceuticals, only cut, slash, burn, poison will cure you of cancer. We talk more about that because cancer has a lot to do also with, and not as they are telling us, it's just genetic, or it is genetic. No, it's not. Some of it is, yes. The predisposition for it may be genetically there. However, many of our foods, as we're going to hear in a minute about nitrates, contribute to our cancer epidemic, which is an epidemic, and it's getting larger. The, the ACS is an organization that actually prevents prevention and openly supports the continuation of cancer as a way to boost its power and profits. The ACS is the wealthiest nonprofit in America and has very close ties to pharmaceutical companies, mammography equipment companies, and other corporations that profit from cancer. Notice the name. It's not the American Anti-Cancer Society. It's the American Cancer Society. What they really stand for is right in the name. True, true, true. Remember, you heard it here first. Its financial ties to chemical companies and pharmaceutical companies and radiology equipment manufacturers is just astonishing. And if you go on their website, they will tell you that even lunch meat is okay to eat. The Cancer Society, where we know nitrates and nitrites can cause cancer. We know that. Parabens can cause cancer. And all of those are found in processed foods. The cancer industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And this author that wrote this article that I am reporting on here says there should be criminal organizations that are criminal protection against that. I mean, we should all just really take this organization to task and ask them, where is the money that we have been giving? What have you been doing with it? And why are you still proclaiming there is no other way? Where we have found that even with homeopathy, I have helped people with homeopathy and cancer so many times. It's not, I mean, and not only me, homeopathy and food. We are what we eat. If we don't eat the right fresh foods, if we smoke, if we drink too much, if we take many drugs, contribute towards cancer, because cancer is not a disease. Cancer is a defense of the body somehow to righten itself. And then, unfortunately, it gets a lot more wrong. And that is a fact. This research on vitamin D is a huge threat to the cancer industry profit mongers because it reveals a way to prevent cancer for free. By seeking natural sunlight exposure and letting your skin manufacture your own powerful anti-cancer medicine, vitamin D, the idea that the cancer industry could lose 80% of its clients due to widespread education about vitamin D and sunlight scares the living daylights out of the cancer industry. I would suppose so, yes. Billions of dollars in cancer profits are at stake here, so the pro-cancer groups have to do everything they can to discredit vitamin D by creating doubt and confusion. The degree of dishonesty at work here is almost unbelievable to those who don't really know what's happening in the cancer industry. And that is really the truth. And they are listing here some 10 questions we should ask ourselves about the cancer industry. Why does the cancer industry refuse to educate people about cancer prevention? You go on their website, there's nothing about prevention, nothing. Why? Ask yourself. Number 2, if people keep donating money for the search for cancer cure, why won't drug companies pledge to open source their patient and cancer drugs to benefit the people whose donations funded them in the first place. In other words, why do people donate money for cancer research, but they don't get charged, but then they get charged for the cancer drugs? Good question, right? I think that is a good question. And now they have they have ads that have apparently real people that are saying, I have had cancer and I'm now cancer free because of the Cancer Society, because they drive me to my treatments and so on. Yeah, and they charge whatever insurance you have. You go and try to find treatment of any kind to any of them. The cancer, there is this hospital that constantly advertises of they do cancer cures. Well, I've had several friends who tried, when they had cancer, to try to get into this hospital. One was a teacher who was public school system, and they have a fabulous health insurance because they're public servants, right? All public servants have great health insurance. They would not take her. Her insurance wasn't enough. They are, I mean, okay, I can go on, and I won't. Next question you should ask yourself: why does the entire cancer industry so strongly dissuades people from using sunlight exposure to dramatically reduce their cancer risk? Hint: follow the money sunscreen industry. Many sunscreens. Now, I started out my life when I was much younger in the cosmetic industry. And I can tell you that many of the sunscreens that were fabricated in the United States, especially PABA, was cancer causing. Cancer Society never really said anything about that. Cancer Society says, no, you got to put sunscreen on, lots of it, 50, 100, you know. In the earlier days, women wore a hat and gloves. Why? Because they didn't want to age. The sunlight, does that cause cancer? Well, some skin cancer have been associated to when you got a sunburn. You got a sunburn earlier in your life, a deep sunburn, I mean a bad one, where the skin really peeled off. And when I was younger, I saw people like that all the time. And those mutated cells from that burn could then morph into a cancer cell later in life. Now we know that. But being out in the sun and being fair-haired and so on by itself, without the sunburn, does not give you cancer. And I am an advocate of sunscreen, but predominantly I want to stay young looking. And the sun and sunlight ages you. That's what it does for sure. Does it give you cancer? I really am doubtful over that. Number 4, the question is, why have all the really good cancer supplements, clinics, and naturopaths been banned, arrested, or run out of the country? Yep. Look up the FDA's oppression of Lane Labs over MGN3 for a fascinating review on this. You can go on the FDA website and you can see all the people that have been persecuted. Many people have been. And I'm sure if I yell loud enough, sooner or later they're going to come after me. But I don't care. At this point, I mean, I have made it this far, and if I can help somebody, if I can tell somebody the truth and open up their eyes of what is happening, you know, I've done my job. Number 5, the US has poured billions of dollars into the cancer industry over the last 3 decades. Cancer cures were promised in the 1970s. Why are cancer rates still essentially the same today as they were in the 1970s? In fact, they have gone up. They have gone up. Cancer rates have gone up. How many people do you know that have cancer? I am sure that every one of you who is listening has had 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people in the immediate vicinity have cancer, die of cancer, live with cancer. Many cancers, by the way, you can live with. A very productive life. And number 6, why does the cancer industry continue to use chemotherapy, radiation, and other toxic procedures to kill tumors? When the latest science clearly shows that cancer tumors are only the symptoms, not the cause of cancer. Chemotherapy destroys immune function and causes permanent damage to the heart, brain, and liver. Yes, sir, it does. It does. And what I think is really, which I have said before, and I'm going to say it again, hooray for the cancer industry. They have now found the immune system and are using immunology to pair with chemotherapy. Whoopee. Why don't you use that in the first place and forget about the chemotherapy? But no, then we can't charge as much. The World Health Organization says that 70% of all cancers are easily preventable through dietary and lifestyle changes. I'm going to say that one more time. The World Health Organization says that 70% of all cancers are easily preventable through dietary and lifestyle changes. Did you get that? That is what, and the World Health Organization is definitely more in tune to what is happening than the American Cancer Society. This latest research shows that sunlight and low-cost calcium supplements can slash cancer by 77% in women. Why won't conventional medicine embrace this low-cost, safe, and highly effective method for preventing cancer? Well, that's a no-brainer, right? I mean, we don't have to ask that question. We know the answer to that. It's too profitable. It's too profitable. The cancer industry routinely attacks and slashes anti-cancer herbs, superfoods, supplements, and the like. Why is the cancer industry opposed to anti-cancer nutrition? Why does it believe that only man, not nature, can manufacture anti-cancer medicines? Why? Well, again, it's a no-brainer. It's the truth. Dark skin pigmentation blocks ultraviolet radiation, meaning that people with black skin need far more time under the sun to generate the same amount of vitamin D as someone with white skin. Not surprisingly, black women suffer extremely high rates of breast cancer, while black men show similarly high levels in prostate cancer. The white-dominated medical industry pretends to be mystified by all of this. Why won't conventional medicine simply tell black people the truth about vitamin D, skin pigmentation, and cancer? Why do oncologists try to keep Black people ignorant about vitamin D? Well, again, we know the answer to these questions, right? We know that by now. Why is it illegal for nutritional supplement manufacturers to tell the truth about anti-cancer effects in their products? For instance, we can now use broccoli, garlic, onions, sprouts, all have powerful anti-cancer effects, and we can use those in supplement. They make now a multi-supplement vegetable powder that is very, very good. And I mix with my dog's food, and I mix it with our food. It goes into every soup that I make, because broccoli, garlic, onions all have cancer, anti-cancer effects. Turmeric, we know turmeric has a high anti-cancer effect. Cat's claw, for example, is a very, very good anti-cancer supplement that you can use. Chinese herbs and Western herbs, but the FDA threatens and censors any company that dares to mention cancer prevention in supplement product. Why is the FDA enforcing a policy of nutritional ignorance with the US customers? Why does the federal government want people to remain ignorant of methods for preventing and treating cancer? We should all ask that question. We should send it in to our representatives. We should send these questions in and ask these questions. It's our health. It's us. As I've said, you know the answer to all of these questions that I've asked. It's because of corporate profits. These oncologists that are working with the American Cancer Society are super wealthy. The officers of the society are super wealthy, and they have a lot of influence also on the policymakers in this country. And here's a statement that I didn't make, but this person that has compiled this report made. Is the cancer industry is operated like a criminal racket, using false information, intimidation, political pressure, and propaganda to protect its power base and to keep its corporation profitable. And that, my friends, is exactly why the industry is against the use of sunlight to prevent cancer. Free medicine from the sky, the very thought of it makes the cancer industry cringe. Sunlight doesn't even have a prescription, you see, and it can't be patented afterwards. Very well said. This article goes on, and I can tell you where to find this article if you like to know more about it. It is in the web address is naturalnews.com, and it's under vitamin D. Okay, it's quite a long article. Whereby, and here is just one more excerpt that I want to read to you, because I really do find it's important that you know. The FDA is complicit with all of this. The FDA doesn't want people to prevent cancer either. That's why they aggressively attack companies offering anti-cancer nutrients and completely censored the way that we mention every word of cancer by supplement companies. In fact, the only reason I can print this information you're reading right now is because I sell no food or supplements. My free speech writing is not regulated by the FDA, and that is why I can report this also, because I don't share the thought of the FDA or any other political organization to come after me. I don't sell any supplemental food. I don't sell vitamin D. I don't really sell any of those. And it seems like to keep our population sick and tired and consuming, because you know what, we're not consuming fast enough um, clothes and electronics and foods. The companies don't get really billions and $1 trillion rich. The largest industries are the pharmaceutical and the health industries in this country. Now, other countries are not quite as bad, but in America, it is as dire as that. The health industry, between the insurance companies and the pharmaceuticals that they press on us. And have you noticed the when you watch TV, and most everybody watches some kind of TV, the pharmaceutical companies outpace any other advertisement on the telly. Every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, we get told that this medicine, if you use this medicine that has 20,000 side effects that are much worse of what you have, but if you use this medicine, you will be better. Whereby 80 to 90% of all these pharmaceuticals you could replace with healthy living or with a natural supplement that will help your body. Now, vitamin D also helps you to sleep very well. And especially that you are, when you have sleep problems. If you have sleep problems, you often have health problems. If you have sleep problems over a series of time. And that is not good, because your body needs to repair itself at night. So you need to sleep. Okay? One of the reasons why often people don't sleep very well is because they eat so late. Have you noticed? I mean, people eat at 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the evening, many people. And that is not good. I have this fight with my husband all the time. He wants to eat like halfway to midnight. Well, by that time I'm asleep, and I don't want to eat that late. And if I do, I don't sleep well. And you probably don't either. Nobody does. And if you don't sleep well, you're not going to be very healthy for very long. Just a quickie about the nitrates and the nitrites. What the difference is. One is from vegetables, and one is the supplement that they put in hot dogs and to all of these processed meats. Sodium nitrate and sodium nitrate, one is spelled with an A and one is spelled with an I. Two common preservatives used in foods are often used interchangeably. So it comes to no surprise that many people don't know the difference between the two. What it comes down to is one oxygen atom, sodium nitrate, has two oxygen atoms. And the one nitrogen atom, sodium nitrate with an A, has one more oxygen atom. So both of them are, and they keep meats fresh. They keep all chicken, predominantly used in chicken, pork, to keep the color fresh and nice, to keep bacteria away from it. But once we consume them, nitrates are converted to nitrites in our digestive system. And what's the harm in nitrates, you may ask? Well, here it comes. In the human body, nitrates form of nitrosamides, which have been associated with various cancers. There we have it. In 2005, a study at the University of Hawaii linked consumption of processed meat to a 67% increase to the risk of pancreatic cancer. And we have, and really, there is more pancreatic cancer now than ever before. Well, wonder why. I will next Monday tell you more about nitrates and nitrates because it is such a big subject. For today, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope that I informed you. I hope that you rethink. If we all stop giving to the American Cancer Society, maybe they'll wake up. Maybe they will hear us. Maybe they really will do what they're supposed to be doing. So with that, I wish you a wonderful week. You've been listening to the Gisela Show, where you always hear the truth. I will do the work for you. I will research it for you. You send me your questions. You ask me what you want to hear, and I will do the research for you. Have a wonderful week. I will see you again next Monday at 5 o'clock. Bye for now.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.